Hey, Tom here from the Run Testers with another running headphone review. In this video, myself and Mike are going to be talking through the Anker Soundcore Liberty 3 Pro True Wireless earbuds. Let's see what we thought. The Soundcore Liberty 3 Pros cost £139.99 or $169.99. The battery will give you 8 hours in the buds and 24 hours extra in the case. There's an IP rating of IPX4 and features include a 15-minute quick charge for 3 hours, Soundcore app customization, single-use buds so you can use them individually, and personalised active noise cancellation. The Soundcore Liberty 3 Pro are true wireless earbuds with a big focus on sound quality. They feature an ACAA 2 coaxial dual driver for deep bass and an immersive experience, as well as personalised ANC that tailors it towards the shape of your ears and your individual sound preference using the partner app. You'll get 30 hours of charge in total, with 24 from the case, single-use bud functionality, an IPX4 rating to protect against sweat and moisture, and wireless charging. There's also 6 microphones with AI-uplink noise reduction for call quality, and a customisable Fusion Comfort Fit design that combines 4 ear tips and 4 ear wings.
So fit for me with the Ankers were good. I wouldn't say they're perfect for running, but I think there's certain types of running that they would be absolutely fine for. So they do things slightly differently in terms of some kind of truly wireless earbuds. It's what Anker calls a kind of triple point design, which is basically decides that, you know, when you wear them, they kind of sit in your ears, so they don't feel pressure, or you don't feel the pressure of wearing them so over longer periods. So from that point of view, they work for me. I have been able to wear them for long periods of time, and they haven't felt uncomfortable. What I will say is, though, you have to play around with these kind of these silicone kind of tips, these wing tips that kind of sit in the back of your ears to get a good fit. Now, I would say when I was trying to run a little bit quicker with these buds, I did find that the fit didn't quite work for me perfectly. I think steady runs and slow runs are absolutely fine, and they do stay put and they're comfortable. But I just think when you're going a little bit quicker, I would be hesitant to use these for races based on that kind of experience basically that I've had with them.
So the fit for me in the Soundcore Liberty 3 Pros is actually really good. I know Mike says that he had some issues with them. I have had absolutely no issues with these at all. I played around with them for a while, played around with the ear tips and the wing tips. I think that's what they're called. You get 4 of each in the pack, so it's quite customizable. So I spent quite a bit of time playing around with them until I got a fit that really worked for me. And I've had no issues with them at all. I've used them for a whole month now, these headphones. I've not used any of the headphones over that period. I've just been testing these out for that whole time. And I've used them on all sorts of runs. I've used them for races. I've used them for easy day miles. I've used them for long runs in the heat. It's been quite hot today where I've been running. And I've had no issues at all. They've not fell out once, and I've really impressed with the fit. Actually, it's actually better for me than most of the headphones that I've tested in the past. So things like the Jaybird Vista 2s and Jaybird Vistas, which previously have probably been the ones that I would say are the best fit for me. They're still not perfect, and these have really just been fantastic. Even though they're slightly larger than some of the more sport running orientated headphones out there, these have just been fantastic for me. So fit for me has been spot on, no issues at all.
The other thing to talk about here are the controls. Now, the controls are touch-based, so you've got a mixture of kind of taps and swipes to kind of control things like skipping tracks, changing between modes, adjusting volume. Now, I mean, they're not very well executed ultimately for running. I had a lot of kind of issues with them. I think when you're out running and you're on the move and you're trying to tap to change things, they're very slow to respond to those taps. They almost kind of get backed up if you're trying to do, a lot at once. Kind of swiping or tapping on the move as well. It doesn't feel very responsive, and I found it quite frustrating to use the controls. So the controls for me are definitely not a highlight of these headphones. I don't think they're a great fit for running particularly. I would always say physical controls. I think there are some good touch sensitive controls out there on truly wireless earbuds. I don't think these are a good example of them, but I do think you can get a good fit overall. The design, I quite like the look of these. You get them in a few different colours. They do sit a little bit bigger in the ears. overall. But yeah, the controls for me didn't really work. I think if I was racing as well, I wouldn't feel massively confident that these are gonna stay put. They're durable enough in terms of what you're getting in terms of protection, but ultimately that fit didn't quite work for me in all of the runs that I did.
So the controls for me, I think the thing about these headphones, and it's the same with the ear gels and wingtips, is that there's quite a steep lot of effort you've got to put in to get these headphones to work right for you. So like the gels and the wingtips, you've really got to put the effort into getting to grips with the controls on these. I'm not a big fan of touch controls normally. They're not great for runners. They tend to be a bit annoying when you've got sweaty hands. If you're running at pace, tapping is really difficult to do, and sometimes you'll tap it too many times and you end up skipping the song and you're already trying to listen to it. It's really annoying when you're listening to a podcast. If you're trying to change the volume or something, you actually accidentally press it too many times and you end up skipping to the next podcast, and then you've got to find it again. So I'm not a massive fan of touchscreens on true wireless earbuds. I generally always have issues with them. With these, when I started to use them, I wasn't a fan. Like Mike, I didn't find them very good for running, and I couldn't quite work out what the buttons did. I think there's a general sense when you get new headphones that there's a sort of, you generally know what the buttons do from previous headphones that you've got, but these just seem a little bit different. There's no obvious logic to what the buttons do. So I spent a good 15 minutes going through the manual and just setting things up. You can also go into the app and play around with the customized settings that the buttons do. And since I invested that time in it, they've actually been really good. I don't have any issues. I know exactly what the buttons do. I know how quickly to press the taps when I want to change the song or when I want to pause it. So I think, yes, if you get them, they're a bit tricky to use. But if you're going to put in the time with them and really work out how they work, I've actually found them to be not too bad, and I can use them quite easily now. I very rarely have any issues where I click it wrong or it is unresponsive to what I'm trying to do.
Just a little note on the case here as well. I mean, it's not the smallest case I found or used on a pair of truly wireless earbuds, but it's not too bad. Can fit in a running belt kind of relatively fine. It's a little bit slippery, so I would be a little bit concerned maybe, that it might kind of slide around when you're taking stuff out, but ultimately I haven't had any problems with that. You've basically got the USB-C charging port, you've got the kind of button here to kind of pair the earbuds, and then you've got the notification lights to indicate when what the battery level is and the charging level. The only thing I would say, on a couple of occasions when I've kind of snapped these these buds in place, which kind of magnetically kind of clip in, one of the buds hasn't always kind of dropped in place, which means they haven't kind of charged properly. It's happened a couple of times. It hasn't happened every time, but that is something that I have noticed. So I think if you're getting them, just make sure that one of those buds, or both the buds really, are securely in place with that kind of magnetic kind of clasp basically inside the case. But yeah, it's an okay case, not the smallest case, not the most durable case in terms of protection, but it's not a bad size overall.
The case for me, I actually really like this case. I think it's completely fine. It's not the smallest case out there, but it's small enough for me. It fits into my running belt quite nicely. I like that motion of opening it by sliding it nice and easily. So no issues with that at all. I don't really like smooth cases like this because they do tend to... I've lost cases before where they've slipped out of my pocket on a train or something because they're just too smooth. I prefer a bit of a block so you can feel it in your pocket. These are a little bit too smooth, so they do fall out. But I think the case is fine. I've had no issues with it at all. It's very easy to use. Mike mentions that he sometimes has a problem putting one of the headphones in and it's not quite right, so it's not charging while he's putting it away. I haven't had that problem. So yeah, I think the case is fine for what it delivers.
So the real big highlight with these headphones are the sound performance. Now, they're not the smallest earbuds, and I think that's really down to the fact that you've got quite big drivers in here. They're 10.6mm dual drivers you're getting in these earbuds, and what that ultimately delivers is something that's powerful, bassy. I think you get a nice wide sound stage in here. You know, it's all about power in these buds, and that's what really comes across, or came across, in my listening time when I was running with them. Now, I think you can get something that works across a lot of different genres and different kind of, you know, audio, basically. I generally listen to quite up-tempo stuff, a lot of drum and bass stuff, where I want the kind of power in the bass, and that's what these earbuds ultimately deliver. I think you can probably get cheaper earbuds, particularly that are good fit for running, where the treble performance is a little bit nicer. You get something a little bit more balanced. But ultimately, I think if you want powerful sounding, kind of bassy earbuds, that's what you get from these Anker earbuds. Now, you've got a couple of modes in there. You've got active noise cancellation. You've got transparency mode. I do use the active noise cancellation. It's pretty good. I don't think it's ultimately going to drown out, or doesn't drown out kind of wind when you're out in kind of windy conditions, but generally it works pretty well. I mean, it's there and thereabouts with a lot of the active noise cancellation I've seen from buds from kind of Jabra and Jaybird, in terms of they're good, they're not, you know, immaculate, not what you're going to get from Bose and Sony at that kind of top end, I don't think. You can personalise the ANC to make sure it works a little bit better from the app. I think that helps a little bit, but I don't think it's a huge amount. But ultimately, sound profile, big, bassy, powerful, a nice wide sound stage. You can maybe get a little bit more in terms of the treble performance, some cheaper buds, but I think the sound overall for me, in terms of the music, I listen to that kind of more up-tempo music where I want that power and bass. These ultimately deliver on that front.
So sound quality is the big one on this, and I think from the first time that I put these in, I really noticed the sound quality. If you look at the website for the headphones, you can see that they're really pushing sound quality. They've got loads of information on the way that the sound is better in these headphones. They've got testimonials from various sound producers and things like that. So they're really pushing the sound on these. And I think that is the key focus of these headphones. I listen to a lot of dance music, a lot of electronic music, a lot of bassy music, and these sound absolutely fantastic, especially when compared to some of the other headphones that I wear. So maybe the Jabra Elite 4 Actives, the Jaybird Vista 2s. I think what you get with a lot of the running specific headphones is that there's a balance between the performance level benefits, that includes things like the IP ratings and things like that, and the sound. So you generally end up with an okay sound, but it's never great. It's not going to compare with some of the best sound-based headphones on the market. But I do think these offer really competitive sound, and one that's probably better than a lot of the running and sports headphones out there. I really enjoy wearing these headphones listening to music. I also listen to a lot of podcasts on them, and the sound with that is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I think the sound, if you really care about sound and you want a pair of headphones that is probably more orientated towards better sound than the performance benefits, but you still want to use them for running, I think these are actually a really good option. It does have noise cancelling in, and you can personalise that quite heavily using the partner app. So it'll do some clever stuff. I don't know how good it is, but it will sort of test the headphones in your ears and work out the right sound for your ears and how you're listening to the music based on your preferences. And I think the sound you get out of it is very good. It seems to do a lot of stuff in that app to customize that sound for you. I'm a little bit skeptical as to how valuable that is, but it definitely gives you a lot of options for customizing the sound. And as well as that noise cancellation setting that you can do in there, there's also loads of presets in there as well, which you can play around with to get a good sound. So again, sound is a really big focus of these, and I definitely think it's one for the audiophiles out there that like doing fitness.
So I think battery life is pretty solid overall in terms of the price. You're getting actually the same as what you got on the Liberty Pro 2, so it's about 8 hours, and I think you've got like 32 hours in total when you factor in the case. And the case has wireless charging, which I obviously do love, so you can kind of drop that on the wireless charger and it works from that point of view. In terms of running, I kind of saw, it depends really. If you're using the ANC, like a lot of earbuds, that's going to drain the battery quicker. I think from about an hour's of running, I probably saw the battery drop off by about 10% or 10-15%. So not bad showing. I think ultimately, if you take that ANC off, it's going to last you longer. But ultimately, I think you're going to get through a week's worth of kind of running. I think if you've got the case charged as well, you're kind of well catered for or covered for that level of running, I think, as well, for a week. And then you do have a quite nice quick charge feature as well. So I think you're getting, 15 minutes will get you 3 hours of listening time again. So from that point of view, the battery life is pretty good. You know, not class leading in terms of what's available that's out there, but it's pretty much matches what's around this price in terms of battery life and in terms of kind of what you're going to get from these buds when you're running and day-to-day use as well.
Battery life for me has been completely fine. I've been using these, as I say, for a month, for all of my running, for all of my commuting to work, and the battery's been fantastic. I think it's, I definitely had no issues with it. It's not noticeably lower than what it says. So that 8 hours you get in the buds, and the 24 hours you get in the case as well. Sometimes I've gone a whole week using it quite a lot, putting them back in the case and recharging them, but I've not really been charging them religiously. So I think the battery life is pretty accurate, and I definitely had no issues over the time that I've been testing over the past month. Connectivity, when I set these up, I did have a little bit of an issue getting it to connect straight away, so I had to unpair and pair a few times. Now it's absolutely perfect. It instantly picks up the headphones as soon as I turn on my phone. I've got a Pixel 6 Pro, and it works perfectly with that. It's instant. It will just connect as soon as you open the case and put them in your ears. Connectivity whilst running in them, I think it's fine. I do have an issue with it where maybe once every hour that I'm listening to it, it sort of cuts out, but very briefly. So it will sort of stop in my ear, and then within a couple of seconds, it comes back again. I don't know what's causing that. I've definitely not been able to fix it, but it's a minimal issue. I've not had any connectivity issues where it stopped working, and now I know that's how the issue works out. I've not really bothered to try and solve it, but there is a slight connectivity issue for me when listening to it consistently.
So my verdict on the Anker Soundcore Liberty 3 Pro is that if you like big, powerful sound, if you can get this fit to work for you, I think you can get a good set of running headphones. The problem for me is that I don't think the controls worked very well. You know, they're very much kind of unresponsive, and I don't think they're the best suited for running. The fit for me, while good for generally most runs, I think for racing I would be a bit wary about using them, and it's not ones that I would opt for using for racing. So if I was looking around this price point, kind of 130, 40 pounds, I would probably go for something like a Jabra Elite Active 4, which are cheaper. You get a slightly different fit, but I think the fit is very secure and comfortable. Generally, you're getting good sound. I think you're getting good battery life. In terms of what you're getting for that money and for less money, I think that's maybe going to be a better option for most people. You've got other headphones out there like Sennheiser's kind of Sport Truly wireless earbuds that they've recently just announced, and that's going to probably give you that sound quality as well, that kind of finesse that maybe you might want in terms of that audio kind of performance, and get a strong fit. I think probably a more reliable fit as well. So yeah, I think for me, I think these are okay for running. It wouldn't be my go-to choice, basically, based on that, you know, not getting 100%, you know, comfortable, less comfortable, more secure fit, I would say. Those controls just being a bit of a mess overall. The only thing that would let me or convince me to put these back in really are the sound performance, because, you know, it is top notch in terms of power and bass, but ultimately all the other aspects I would look for in a pair of running earbuds, they don't quite work out for me.
So the verdict for me on the Soundcore Liberty 3 Pros is that I'm really impressed with them. I think they're a fantastic pair of headphones. I've been wearing these for the past month, despite the fact that I've got other headphones as well that I can use. I've actually just been really enjoying these, and quite often when I test headphones, I will gravitate back towards the headphones that I normally use. But generally, if a pair of headphones is good enough for me and they're the ones on the top of the surfaces, I'll just pick this up and use it. If it's a bad pair of headphones, I won't. I'll stop using them pretty quickly. But these, I'm still enjoying wearing them. Even if I'm not testing them, I think they're really good option for sound. They're a solid build. They feel very comfortably in my ears. I've had no issues running in them. I probably wouldn't race in them just because they're a little bit bulky and I'd be worried that they might fall out. They haven't fallen out. But yeah, I don't really like running in bulky true wireless headphones. I'd rather wear shocks or something where it's actually wrapped around my head and it won't fall off. So yeah, I'd say these are a great option if you want some really good sounding headphones at a relatively mid-range price. They're not going to compete with things like top end Bose headphones if sound is what you really care about. But if you're looking for a pair of headphones that sort of sits in that £140 and lower mark, I think these are a really good option. And I don't think there's many headphones that I've tested around that mark that sound as good as these. Previously, my favourite headphone has been the Jabra Elite 4 Active. I know Mike's picked this as well. It's a fantastic pair of true wireless buds that is probably better than a lot of the headphones that sit above it up until that £180 mark. So for £120, you're getting a fantastic pair of headphones. Those don't have the wingtips and ear gels that you get in the Soundcore Liberty 3 Pros, but they stay in my ears as well. I'd say that these are a little bit more secure, but I've never had the Jabras fall out of my ears, so I'm a big fan of those. For £120, they're probably the best option on the market at the moment. But I would say that the sound in these is better. I think there's the bass in them is a lot more enjoyable. The Jabra Elite 4 Actives are just more of a good baseline general pair of headphones that just gives you everything you want, from the performance benefits to the sound, to the charging, to everything. But these Liberty 3 Pros are just better for the sound overall, I think. I'd also say the JBL Reflect Flow Pros are a good option as well. They sit around £100 at the moment. They're actually slightly chunkier than these headphones. So if you want something small, probably don't go for those. But for £100, they do have great sound. And I'd definitely go for those if I was looking for a pair of headphones to buy that sat around that £100 mark. For the price for these, they sit around £140. Although there is an offer on at the moment. I don't know how long it will be on for. I think it's probably got a few days left, but might suggest that they're going to go down in price anyway, or you can find them cheaper somewhere else. But for around £140, I'd say these are probably a little bit too expensive still. I think if you could get these for about £110, £115, there would be a steal for audiophiles out there, because the sound is really good and everything else is completely fine as well. The IP rating and everything, I've had no issue with it at all. So yeah, I think they're a really good option if you like sound, but the price at the moment, £140, is just a little bit too much for me, because I don't think the performance benefits really justify that cost. And the sound, even though it's better than a lot of the headphones that I test around that price range, I don't think it's good enough to justify that jump in cost when compared with the performance benefits that you're losing on this compared to some of those other headphones. That's it from us. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click that little bell, and check the channel out for all the other videos we've got from the latest road and trail shoes, as well as running headphones and watches out at the moment. Thanks a lot for watching. See you soon.